What's going on, my dudes? 2023 Supercross predictions, okay? So, Spency Boy been popping off with these polls on the channel. Appreciate all you boys participating in that. So, just a few days ago, I posted a poll on the community tab of my channel. Make sure you got all notification bells hit so you get notified for the different polls. But what it was I said, who is winning the 2023 Supercross Championship? Question mark, okay? Here were the different options that I put. Okay, I put Eli Tomac, Jason Anderson, Cooper Webb, Ken Roczen, and J-Law. All right? This poll got over 700 votes, which has got to be the biggest poll that I've ever done before by far. But I know I've seen a lot of you guys get a little confused in the comments of that poll. A lot of people were like, well, you know, where is Chase Sexton? I think Chase Sexton's going to win. You just going to leave Chase Sexton out, Spency Boy? Okay, well, I don't think some of you boys totally understand how the polls work on YouTube, but you can only have 5 options. That's it. That's the maximum amount of options that you can put, okay? So I put Ken Roczen in there over Chase Sexton just because I know a lot of people are hyped up about Roczen. I was curious to see how much they would vote Roczen over like Tomac, Anderson, or Webb. And I put J-Law on there, okay? And this is another part. A lot of you guys got a little confused and said in the comments like, oh, you know, Jet Lawrence is racing 450 outdoors. He's not racing 450 Supercross. Duh. Bro, if you think that J-Law, and I put literally capital J, capital L-A-W, J-Law, if you think that that means Jet Lawrence in motocross, you don't really understand motocross. That's all I have to say, okay? I was not even meaning Jet Lawrence, okay? When the hell has J-Law ever meant Jet Lawrence in motocross? First of all, put a little respect on Jason Lawrence's name, please, okay? That's who I meant by J-Law, because we saw some information that Jason Lawrence may come back in Supercross in 2023 or whatever. So I was just fucking around. It was a joke, okay? So I always try to sometimes add a little bit of flair to these polls, try to put a little bit of a joke to these polls. So I put J-Law as like a silly, let's just see how many people vote for that, right? So that's why I didn't have Chase Sexton on there. That's what I was doing there. I was putting J-Law as like a little extra joke. See how many people will vote for somebody that has literally 0 chance of winning. I wasn't even talking about Jet Lawrence, okay? So, just had to clarify some of that, but you can only have 5 options on a poll, okay? I just can't believe that low amount of people voted for Jason Anderson. You boys do realize how close he was to potentially winning that Supercross championship in 2022. I mean, you do realize that, right? He was right there with Tomac. You want to talk about Chase Sexton potentially doing something in 2023 Supercross, but Chase Sexton hasn't even really proved all that much in Supercross. Like, yeah, he's proved some shit in outdoors just now, 2022 outdoors, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to perfectly carry over to Supercross. Whereas Jason Anderson has already proved he can do it in Supercross. He's already won a Supercross championship, 450 Supercross championship, and then he was right there with Tomac on that Kawasaki last year. I mean, there was a couple races, couple main events, I was like, there ain't nobody can even touch Jason Anderson. I remember that one track where they were going through them big-ass whoops. I think the whoops that took out Hunter Lawrence. You guys probably remember that main event. But, like, Jason Anderson was hauling ass through them whoops deep into the main event. And it's like, it's just funny to me how people can get on these different hype trains to the point to where they think that, like, Ken Roczen or And by the way, Ken Roczen, that has never won a 450 Supercross championship, but just the fact that he's going back to Suzuki, more people think that he's got a better chance of winning the 2023 Supercross championship than Jason Anderson, which did better than Roczen in 2022 Supercross by far and already has a 450 Supercross championship. It doesn't add up. It doesn't make any sense. Roczen's going to a B-tier Suzuki team that has never won a main event. Jason Anderson is on fucking Monster Energy Cowie. God dang, you boys. You boys are killing me. Like, and listen, I'm not saying that Chase Sexton doesn't have any chance of winning the title. Like, he certainly does. But, like, I wouldn't necessarily put Chase Sexton way over top of Jason Anderson. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't necessarily put Ken Roczen way over the top of Jason Anderson either. You see what I'm saying? So it's just interesting to see this. Only 11% of people voted for Jason Anderson. You know, more people voted for Ken Roczen, and obviously more people voted for Tomac, but yeah, it's so funny to me to see how these different hype trains get developed around these certain riders, and then they think the sky's the limit, the moon's the limit, the galaxy's the limit for certain dudes, right? All of a sudden, you know, even though Chase Sexton, like, he's had a couple of good races in Supercross, but a lot of them have turned into him crashing out front, right? Like, Chase Sexton really hasn't proven it in 450 Supercross yet. He just hasn't. And with where Ken Roczen is right now, I mean, it's just almost hilarious to think about Roczen going out there and just absolutely dominating Jason Anderson in 2023 Supercross. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to come down between Eli Tomac and Jason Anderson. That's what I think. I think you're basically going to have, like, obviously, like, Chase Sexton's going to probably create some fireworks. He may go out there and win 2 or 3 main events. He'll be up there near the front in some main events. But, like, I feel like once we get halfway through the series, you're going to start to see Jason Anderson and Eli Tomac rise to the top. That's what I think. And only 5% of people voted for Cooper Webb. See, Cooper Webb, even though he has 2 Supercross championships, he's kind of in a weird fluctuation because last year he just couldn't figure it out, you know? And he's been going back and forth at the Baker's factory. So I can see where people wouldn't necessarily be, you know, really believing that Cooper Webb's going to go out there and dominate in 2023. Like, I can totally understand that. But to think that Roczen is going to go out there and just absolutely dominate, I can't really see that. To think that Chase Sexton is going to go out there and just, you know, absolutely put the hurting on him, I can't necessarily fully buy into that yet. Like, you see what I'm saying? I can't fully buy into it. Like, it's one thing for Sexton to go out there in outdoors, you know, and it's just a totally different kind of environment. Like, I don't think you can directly compare, like, well, if this guy goes out there and does really good in outdoors, then he's going to go right out there in the next series and do really good in Supercross. I don't necessarily believe that. You know what I mean? I'm not fully buying into that. Like, I think Chase Sexton will have his best Supercross season he's ever had, but I don't think it's going to be like absolutely dominate Tomac, go out there and win 6+ main events. I'm just not seeing it to that level. You know what I mean? Like, I would put it like this. I would say Eli Tomac has the best chance of winning it, and then it goes down a peg from there, and it goes to Jason Anderson. He's got the second best chance of winning it, and then it goes down from there to Chase Sexton. I put Chase Sexton like third in the running for the 2023 championship, and then it would go down from there to probably Cooper Webb, and then I would be putting Roczen somewhere like 5th place. 5th place in the running for the 2022 or 2023 Supercross Championship. That's where I'm putting them. You know what I mean? Because I think it's like Tomac's probably on his last year. He's faster than he's ever been. He's better than he's ever been. He just did it on the Star Yamaha. He knows he can do it. You know what I mean? So I think Tomac at this point, he's trying to go out with the bang. I'm leaning more towards Tomac than I am anybody else. But I also think Jason Anderson has got a lot to prove because he was so close to doing it in 2022 Supercross. So it's like Jason Anderson's really going to be trying to prove he can do it on that monster Cowie and not just be a one-hit wonder with 450 Supercross championships, right? Cooper Webb's also got a lot to prove too, but it's kind of, I don't know if he's really going to be able to really do it like that in 2023 with all the other competition. You know, Chase Sexton, yeah, he's got a lot to prove too, but my whole point is like Eli Tomac's already proven it. Jason Anderson's already proven it. You know what I'm saying? Ken Roczen hasn't really proven it, that he can go out there and really be like competing for a Supercross championship after you get halfway through the series. He hasn't really proven that. He's proven that he can be really good at the first few rounds or go out there and win 3 main events in a row. But when you talk about true championship contender from that midways like Daytona point and beyond, Roczen has never really proven that in the 450 class. Chase Sexton has never really proven that in the 450 Supercross class. You know, so I'm just kind of going off of what has been proven before. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about it is, like, Tomac and Jason Anderson, like, they've already proven that, and they just did that last year, so they're going to be clicking. Like, there's no question about it. They're going to be clicking. And it's like, I think it's going to take Chase Sexton a couple of rounds to kind of get his feet underneath him in 450 Supercross, you know, because he hasn't really went out there and been super dominant yet. So even though he's found his place in 450 outdoors, he's found his feet in 450 outdoors, I don't necessarily think he's going to come out the gate running in 450 Supercross in 2023. You know what I mean? I think it's going to take him a little bit of time. Like I think Chase Sexton could go out there and win 2024 Supercross, 2025 450 Supercross, 2026 450 Supercross. He could go on a run, you know, after 2023. I totally believe that. And he could even win the 2023 Supercross championship. But I'm not like just totally putting him way and above, over the top favorite above Eli Tomac, Jason Anderson, and you know what I mean? Those two guys specifically, I'm not just completely putting him above them. So that's kind of where I'm sitting with it. Interesting to see the poll and the votes and shit, but just to remind everybody, J-Law means Jason Lawrence, not Jet Lawrence, okay? Now, when Jet Lawrence actually comes to 450 Supercross in 2024, that'll be a whole nother situation, and just remember, anytime I do these polls, there's a lot of times I'm making jokes, okay? Like whenever I did the poll that asked, what bike is Roczen choosing for 2023? I literally had Alta as an option, Beta as an option. Like, bro, Spency Boy jokes in these polls, you know what I'm saying? So just remember that. Just don't ever forget that. So when you see me put J-Law as an option for 2023 Supercross champion, you know, you naturally want to lean more towards that I'm saying Jason Lawrence, not Jet Lawrence, okay? But nonetheless, I feel like the hype level has gone crazy for Ken Roczen. That's why a lot of people are kind of thinking he might win the Supercross championship. But you still got to remember, you still got Adam Cianciarulo that's trying to prove some shit. You know, you've got Christian Craig trying to prove some shit on that new team. You still have Plessinger, Muscan, Dylan Ferrandis. I mean, like, there's other competition here. It's not just going to be like Ken Roczen can just easily be at the front of the pack every night, or like, you know, like I think a lot of people think that it's going to be like Chase Sexton's just going to have a cakewalk, kind of like he did in outdoors, but there was no Adam Cianciarulo in outdoors. Dylan Ferrandis got hurt in outdoors. Christian Craig, wasn't he still on the Star Yamaha? So that's kind of different. But I'm saying I feel like the competition is going to motherfucking be there in 2023 Supercross differently than it was in 2022 outdoors. So just be careful with that sort of instant opinion like, well, Chase Sexton almost won the outdoor title, so that means he's going to win the Supercross title. Just be careful with that sort of mindset. That's all I'm going to say. And be careful with the, just because Ken Roczen's going back to a Suzuki and he used to do really good on the Suzuki, that automatically means he's going to win the 2023 Supercross title. You need to also be very, very careful with that sort of mindset. You see what I'm saying? So just keep your hype in check. We'll see what happens. But the T-Sipper's putting it on Tomac or Anderson. Those are my two biggest picks. And it's kind of easy to select those guys because they were the best last year in Supercross. But those are my two picks. Like, I could see Anderson winning it, to be honest with you. I could see Anderson going out there and legitimately winning it straight up over Tomac. I could see that. But I also could see Tomac going out with the motherfucking bang. You know what I mean? So, but I think it would be like considered sort of miraculous if Ken Roczen goes out there and wins 2023 Supercross Championship. That would be like super lucky. That would be super miraculous for that to happen. And for Chase Sexton to go out there and win the 2023 Supercross Championship, that would be like the absolute perfect case scenario, you know? That would be like if Sexton is just perfectly clicking on all cylinders, he doesn't have any big mistakes, like, that would be like perfect case scenario, you know what I mean? So, but at the end of the day, that's my opinion on it. So, either way, man, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. I'll see you boys on that next one later, dudes.